Hi guys, today we're going to replace a fuel pump in the tank. It's a plastic tank, so it's nice it doesn't rust. But as you can see here, we had a little problem with the brittle plastic. It broke when I was lowering the tank and wasn't quite ready to pull those out. And then I tried pulling them out with the Harbor Freight fuel. Yeah, those are going back to Harbor Freight. They don't hold up, and their plastic is brittle too. So I had to actually, the one that broke off, I had to actually drill it out enough so that I could get my bit stuck in there and then pull it out after I removed the wire cage that holds it in. So first thing we have to determine is what kind of wires we have. So we have a gray, we have a purple with white, and we have a looks like a black. Let's see what the other side looks like. Looks like we have two blacks, a purple and a white, and a gray. So, and that determines what kind of chart you're going to use to hook the new harness up. So on the new harness, this is a Carter pump. I'm going to try that this time. I've heard good things about them. I will not buy an AirTech again. I've had too many things go wrong with them. You end up pulling the tank back out. So here's what comes with it, the new style connector. And so instead of using these crimp-on barrel connectors that come with it, I'm going to use a little heat. Let's see. Instead of those barrel connectors, I'm going to use a little heat, some solder, and I have some heat shrink tubing that I'm going to go over it with. So the first thing you have to do is you have to cut the harness off, the old harness off. My cutters aren't the best anymore. A lot of use. And then you have to strip the wires. So first we're going to strip the wires. And then I've put my heat shrink tubing already on the new harness, so they're ready to go. And then we have to match up according to the chart the colors with the right wires. So it says to hook the black large gauge to the orange black wire, so we're going to do that one first. Black large gauge right there. And don't use a torch if there's gas smell around, because then you have other kind of problems. Okay, so we've twisted them together. Use a little heat down there and a little solder. I put them parallel this time so the heat shrink will go over it easy, like that. And then I just use a little heat, no flame, and shrink that on there. There we go. There's the first one. And then we just got to do the other ones. The small black wire goes to the black, small gauge goes to the gray. Now we find the gray. And then this wire loom that was there, I'm going to pull back down some. And then I have another piece of wire loom here. And I'm going to wrap over this like so. It didn't come with that, but I had a piece, so I just throw it on there. And then take these two pieces together. There we go. Okay, now we have the standard newer style plug that should fit right on the new pump. So to remove the pump itself, I've already loosened it up some, but that ring just taps around like that, and then it pops up. And you gotta make sure that you don't get the dirt that's all on there. I cleaned the dirt off first, and then you pull this ring off, set to the side, and then the whole assembly just pulls out of there. You have to kind of tip it because of the float. Set that aside, and then a new one goes in there in the same way the old one came out. And as you can see here, there's a notch that goes in the lineup spot there. But first, I want to I have a new gasket. I guess we'll stick it on here first. A little lubricant, little silicone spray on there. Help it slide down in there because that's a new gasket. And that goes in nice and easy that way. Push that down. And then as you're pushing it down, ring. Nice to have a third hand. But I don't have three hands, so we're just going to keep tapping away on this. Oops. Don't hit your finger. Make sure you have all four started before you turn too far, so you don't bind it. And you'll want to get it until that clip is in there, then you know it's in all the way. Okay, clips all the way in there, so it's turned as far as it's going to go. Now it's time to put the tank back in. And on the Tahoe, you'll have to jack it up quite a bit to get this high part underneath there. And that has to go under the axle until you get the front end up over the frame section. So we're going to wiggle around with that on a jack. I have a jack that I'm just gonna set it on and keep working away at it. And as you get closer, before you get it all the way in, make sure you hook up your hoses. Now there's two different sizes, and they just, once you get the old ones out, the new the hoses just pop right on this new thing. So they got some protective caps that come off. And then there's a vent hose up here, and then there's also a sensor back here, and then your two hose connections. And hopefully this pump will work. So what I'm going to do is hook everything up before I get it all mounted and test the fuel pressure under the hood with a fuel pressure tester, and make sure that I have the 60 pounds that I need. So there we have the fuel filter. I'm going to replace that next. Before we power it up and put pressure on the system, I have another filter here. I'm going to compare it, make sure it's the same, and it looks to be the same size. We don't have to deal with the quick connects here, but the rusted tubing nuts aren't always easy to work with either, so we'll get this replaced next.